I'm gender fluid. And I've always perceived gender fluid as being male one day, female another, something else another, and constantly changing, and not viewing gender fluid as being in phases.
That doesn't make sense.
As in, like, over different periods of time, identity changing or going back to other identities. And I identify with a lot of xenogenders. I recently realized I identify with elf gender because I realized that elf ears just gave me gender euphoria. But I also identify as cat gender, but to me it feels like the elf gender thing is more present right now. And I think that's really what gender fluidity is to me. I view myself as being all these things at the same time, but they just come in phases.
What did you say? What the f*** did you just say?
I recently realized I identify with elf gender because I realized that elf ears just gave me gender euphoria.
She's fit for a straitjacket. This broad's 3 ways towards the weekend.
Now hang on 1 second. Let me get this straight. So we, all of us, are supposed to take people like the young lady we just heard from seriously when they say, I'm elf gender or I'm cat gender, and their pronouns are, what, meow meow? I think we've all had just about enough of this silly little social experiment, and it's time to get back to the way things used to be before everybody lost their fucking minds. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I have a very crazy Clown World update for you guys today, and as usual, we have absolutely no time to waste, so let's get into it. Now, if you place your attention on the screen for a moment. So this fella here is Chris with a K. Now, Chris is a biological man who identifies as a trans woman and calls himself a lesbian. Now, one thing I noticed about this picture, besides the giant tattoo that says God is a trans woman right smack dab in the middle of Chris with a K's armpit, but it's the 5 o'clock shadow, the amount of stubble Chris with a K has going on his face there, but I guess that's neither here nor there. So Chris only dates cis lesbians and only uses ladies' restrooms. Wait, what?
What is your fucking problem, man? Huh?
Let's keep this party rolling with this fine fella who has absolutely zero self-awareness. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but he goes on about a 2-minute rant here, and I know it's kind of long, but it's definitely worth listening to because pretty much everything he says is exactly what the Democrat Party and the establishment's doing. But they try to blame it all on Trump and MAGA and Trump supporters. It's very bizarre. It's all projection with these people. Roll it.
Yes, this deranged, demented, delusional, dishonest, election-denying, document-stealing, tax-cheating, insurrection-leading, democracy-hating, Putin-loving, wife-cheating, convicted predator and criminal won Iowa by getting approximately 56,000 ill-informed, uninformed, and or uneducated MAGNA Republicans to brave the cold in a state in which 1.7 million people voted in the 2020 election.
Good.
This is a small number of people and doesn't mean Trump will win. This should be a monumental reminder to do everything we can to ensure that this terrorist of anyone and everyone who tries to keep him accountable doesn't become president. And it should be clear that the more educated voters were less likely to vote for this diabolical devil. And now it's incumbent on those who know and embrace the truth and objective reality to stand up and speak out, because the evil empire and access of evil, including Russia, Saudi Arabia, and the right-wing media ecosystem and corrupt billionaires and power-hungry, repugnant Republicans will throw everything at us. Gas prices will be elevated. Wars around the world will be exasperated. Election officials will be intimidated. Voting obstacles will be employed. Third-party candidates will be empowered. And The economy will be undermined. Lies and misinformation will be deployed, etc., etc. But the enlightened, the educated, the moral, the righteous among us will refuse to lose our democracy that generations of Americans fought to create and protect. We can, we must, we will keep America free from fascism.
Who the f do you think you are, you crazy little shit?
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you're enjoying the videos, you like the content, you want to help support the channel, grabbing one of these t-shirts is a great way to do it. And I'm sure most of you have heard by now, well, we actually just heard from that bald guy who was very unhappy about it, but Donald Trump did win the Iowa caucus last night. So if you're excited about that, we have the Revenge Tour 2024 mugshot t-shirt. Now, this is the most famous mugshot in the history of all mugshots. So if you want to grab your very own Revenge Tour mugshot t-shirt, I will put a link to that in the description box below. And I also have some other very cool designs you can check out as well.
That is awesome!
Now, I know I say this quite often, but I have lost faith in most institutions in this country, up to and including the medical institutions. And this next clip is one of the reasons for that. Now, this person is a doctor, a real doctor. She actually calls herself the Fat Doctor. And she's going to explain to us why she doesn't recommend losing weight. Wait, what? Roll it.
Doctors should never be prescribing weight loss to anyone, ever, at any point in time. And here's why. When we recommend any procedure, treatment, medication, or whatever, we need to be thinking about the pros and the cons, the benefits and the risks. So what are the benefits of intentional weight loss? Well, the main one is you become thinner. Temporarily, mind you, because up to 98% of people will regain all of the weight that they lost within 5 years. Up to 2/3 of them actually will gain back more than they lost in the first place. There are some possible temporary health benefits, but none of them are long-lasting. For example, you may be able to get your diabetes into remission for 12 months, 18 months, but no longer than that for the vast majority of people. In fact, most of the data out there focuses A, on the short-term benefits, and B, more on health risks rather than health outcomes. So to sum up, very few benefits, most of them temporary, and multiple risks, most of them long-term. You don't need to be a genius to figure out why I am strongly against doctors recommending weight loss. No ifs, ands, or buts. Buts.
You're not a doctor. You're a big, fat, curly-headed f***.
All right, next up. So this young lady who identifies as non-binary is very upset that her parents, whose house she lives in, won't accept her gender. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't feel bad for this young lady. I feel bad for her parents. Roll it.
So before anyone says I'm looking for sympathy, I'm not. I just got into another fight with my parents about my freaking gender. My gender.
Are you crying?
So I'm non-binary. I've been non-binary for a long time. I haven't come out since until recently because keeping it in was just, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't listen to myself be called she, and I'm like, well, my parents accept me for being gay, so sort of. So maybe they'll accept this as well.
That's not crying.
That's a big fat nope. I don't know what to do. And they don't understand that this hurts so bad. When I get back on my feet, I'm f***ing out of here.
Well, why don't you cry about it?
So that young lady is all upset at her parents and trying to make them look bad because she herself was duped by this whole gender ideology thing. And yet her parents are still letting her live in their house. So ungrateful. Anyway, next up, so it's been a minute since we've heard from Dylan, our old pal Dylan. Let's see what Dylan's been up to. Roll it.
Oh, thank God. Honey, I hope it's a good time because we need an emergency meeting. So, y'all know I like to get dolled up. And I was going to get a bagel this morning after a sleepover with my friend, and I had to borrow her sweatpants. So I'm standing in line for the bagel, looking like this, which is not a normal Dylan outfit. Hottest guy I've ever seen in my entire life. Can I get your number? Yes. Looking like this? Yes. And then I keep walking. I've got my bagel. Hottest person. Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? I couldn't believe it. I haven't shaved. What? So you're telling me that I've been putting all this effort in and I could have just been like doing the minimum to get the maximum benefit this entire time? And now I'm kind of looking at myself in the sweatpants and I feel hot. So I think yes. And for a sweatpant era, what do we think?
Personally, I think you're a fucking idiot.
So as far as Dylan's little story goes, I'll take things that never happened for 1,000, please, Alex. Anyway, guys, real quick, we don't have any sponsors for today's video. If you'd like to sponsor the next video and help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below. And I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. This is not a good look for the post office. Not a good look. Oof.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
Hey, where are the white women at?
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up with this clip of the race lady from MSNBC, Joyless Reed. And it looks like she may have borrowed a hairpiece from Donald Trump last night, but regardless, we all know the big news from last night was the Iowa caucuses, and Joyless Reed is going to give us her opinion. Now, this lady is a blatant racist, and she's going to tell us why she thinks Donald Trump won. Has nothing to do with his policy positions or his plans moving forward with the country. She'll tell you what she thinks it is. Anyway, guys, things are clearly getting crazy out there, so please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time, love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
But, you know, I feel like the important sort of data point, and you know, Steve talks about it a lot. He's going to probably talk about it a little more tonight, is that these are white Christians. That this is a state that is overrepresented by white Christians that are going to participate in these caucuses, yes. Especially tonight. Earlier today, reached out to Robbie Jones from the Public Religion Research Institute, knowing that we were going to talk about Iowa. And this is a hyper-evangelical white state. And he said the following to me: Iowa is about 61% white Christian. The country as a whole is approximately 41% white Christian. And in Iowa, we're talking about evangelical white Christians. And he said the following. Because I asked him, what do they get out of supporting Donald Trump? Because he keeps losing, he keeps delivering losses and losses. And he said the following: they see themselves as the rightful inheritors of this country, and Trump has promised to give it back to them. All the things that we think about electability, about, you know, what are people gaming out, or none of that matters when you believe that God has given you this country, that it is yours, and that everyone who is not a white conservative Christian is a fraudulent American.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
And you ain't black.